What's up, friends of the internets, and welcome back to the Jube Tube. Gotta mention it, we only have about a week and a half left. Check out the mustache, it's for Movember. Check out the link below, go donate to the cause. I appreciate you, I know they appreciate you, so get out there and donate. Let's talk about Justice League, shall we? First of all, I'm gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes. I usually ramble in my videos, and not a lot of people like to watch people who talk for more than 15 minutes. Which I tend to do. So we're going to go fast this time. I'm going to try to keep it small and in easy chunks. Let's go. First of all, let's set it down on the table. It's not that bad. All of the titles that I saw about the reviews before I went to see it, and I tried not to read any of them before I went, is that it was awful, it was terrible, it was painful to watch, and I felt none of those things. I also went in with pretty low expectations. This is DC's second attempt to do a team-up movie. Suicide Squad I would count as the first, and that was a dumpster fire. It was not good. And this was much better than that. It still wasn't great. It still had its imperfections, but I had a good time. It was fun. I do have some complaints about the movie as a whole, but really, it was not that bad. It was not painful to watch. Suicide Squad was painful to watch, so I don't think it was near that bad. The reason Suicide Squad was so bad was chopped up story, things being rushed, but in such a way that it started to affect the movie. I also left Suicide Squad being like, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad. And then I bought it and I watched it again later, and it indeed was that bad. It was definitely that bad. This was not that case. I didn't find myself defending a movie that I knew should be categorized as being poorly done. That's good for the reason that we have two directors here. And I didn't feel like there were two directors. However, I did feel a lot of Marvel-ness in here that I don't appreciate. I love Marvel movies. I did a review for Thor Ragnarok, and that might be my favorite to date. You could definitely tell that Joss Whedon, I think, was trying to lighten it up a bit because it was a little light. And by that, I mean, with Batman vs. Superman, they tried to be dark. They were pretty serious with Wonder Woman. They were pretty serious with Suicide Squad. They were serious with Man of Steel. They were trying to make this gritty, almost Dark Knight type universe of being more, not necessarily realistic, but definitely more gritty than Marvel. They tried to go Marvel here, and to me, that failed. I will admit that aspect of the movie failed. I actually have friends who saw it before I did, and they said it was hilarious. One actually said it was funnier than Thor Ragnarok, which I did not believe before I saw the movie, and I don't believe it afterwards. There were a few mildly funny moments, but they tried to lighten it up and put a lot of humor in there, and many of the times it fell flat. They also had two post-credit scenes, one funny and one serious. No spoilers that I'm going to talk about it, but why? I mean, that is the Marvel way. I mean, two or multiples, some just for laughs, others for the story, whatever. I will say that Ezra Miller did a great job as the Flash. He was definitely the comedic relief here, and he did that very, very well. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I thought did well. This was my first exposure to Ray Fisher, and I thought he did a great job as Cyborg, and really I thought other characters did well. Ben Affleck obviously rocked Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all those characters. I think they are well established and they were good. I also liked the differences in the characters in the sense of where they were as far as being heroes goes. Batman and Wonder Woman are seasoned, obviously. Superman, once he returns, not a spoiler, we all knew it was going to happen. He's a seasoned veteran in saving the world. However, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, they're all kind of new at this, especially Cyborg and Flash. And they highlight those elements, and the team has to pick them up, so the camaraderie is there. So they're starting to snowball here. They're starting to get some things that work well. They do have some elements of conflict within the characters, not enough in my opinion, especially when Bruce Wayne just shows up and tries to gather everybody together. There's obviously going to be some resistance, and there is, but then there's other things that we just kind of like, oh, okay, and then we just move on. You know, we just nod our heads, and that's the way it is. That brings me to my second complaint about the movie, and that is the origin of the new characters here, from Steppenwolf to Flash, Aquaman, everybody else. Some of the origin stories that we get are very brief, and I think are done very well. The Flash, for example, is my favorite because we really don't dive too much into Barry Allen. We find out a little bit about his character. It's enough to get you to say, okay, that's who he is, and move on. However, with Aquaman, we get just a little bit more than that, and we're left with more questions than answers, and I am mildly confused about where they left off and who he really is and things like that. And I like comic books, so I can only imagine someone who's just being introduced to these stories, how confused they could potentially be about where that really leads with Aquaman. Steppenwolf is a whole other story. He was pretty meaningless in all of this. He was a villain, but he was pretty much just a strong guy. He had an axe, but that was it. He held no weight in the story other than he had attacked the Amazons 5,000 years ago or something like that. You know, I don't want to give away too much of the story because there's actually something that I felt was supposed to be a subplot or kind of a secondary thing to him being the villain. And to me, it kind of rose above him in level of importance and how it affected the world. I was a little disappointed in him because I thought he looked really cool, but he really was just a strong guy. I just mentioned I saw Thor Ragnarok. What they were able to do with Hulk, why couldn't they do that here? You know what I mean? And Steppenwolf is actually a general. He is more intelligent than Hulk usually is in Hulk form. I didn't like him. I didn't like his character. I didn't like what he was trying to do. The fight scenes were pretty, but he was pretty low on the totem pole on enemies for me, villains in movies, especially for Justice League. Come on, man, like you got to bring it for the first Justice League movie, right? Pretty sad about that. On to my next complaint, and then I'm going to stop complaining. And all of these, to me, in the grand scheme of things, are pretty minor. It was still fun to watch. But the one thing I will mention is I thought they did a great job. Again, I don't feel like two people directed this movie, but stuff that got me hype, like crazy hyped. In the trailer, 90% of the action shots there were not in the movie. And that makes me sad. Quotes, scenes, everything. Like I was mildly disappointed because those things were what got me excited for the movie, and they were gone. But I think that has a lot to do with the rewrites in the sense of tone, because again, it was pretty dark or heavy, gritty, and it's a little lighter towards the end and where we are now. I think the movie leaves us in a good spot. It opens everything up. I just hope that the fans keep going to this movie because I think they should. Don't listen to the critics. They're just really angry and I don't know why. I mean, to me it comes down to the thing that DC has to deal with that Marvel did not when the first Avengers movie came out is expectations. Expectations for comic book movies in the past were not very high. When DC takes their first shot at movies with a lineup of multiple heroes coming together, we know what a good one looks like. We've all seen Guardians of the Galaxy. We've seen that first Avengers movie. We've seen those now. And so you can't just come to us with a movie that's mediocre and have a lot of people give it the nod and appreciate it. If this would have come out first, if this was the first of its kind, a new breed, I don't think the critics or anybody would be as harsh on it as they are because, again, expectations were low. And if you come in looking for an Oscar-winning film, you're not going to get it. But if you're coming in looking for a good, not great, not perfect, but a good, entertaining Justice League movie where you get to see a lot of action with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, things I'm not going to talk about because it's spoilers. And there was a moment in the movie where something happened and I audibly said in the theater, "Oh." I don't remember the last time I did that. So I'm not going to talk about a lot of things. So I still liked it. I don't think it's... Go see it. If you like comic book movies, if you like Batman, if you like Justice League, you like Superman, you like... Go see it. You're going to like it. You're going to have a good time. Alright guys, that's going to finish this review. I tried to be quick. I think I'm butting up against 10 minutes, I think. I tried to be fast. I tried to not get too detailed, too in the weeds. Just talk about the elements of the movie. I hope I didn't go too long. As always, guys, fill up the comment section below. Let me know what you guys thought. If you did hate it, tell me why. I'm very interested. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to talk about it with you guys. Also, hit that red subscribe button, the little cartoon me that I added. Click on that guy. Share it with your friends. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all again next time.